What's up, idiots? It's me, Melvin P. Thurgood III, here with another week of results from last week, as the world ended for the idiots that decided to go against Jermaine Walker. They thought they were smarter than the God. How can you be smarter than somebody that is omnipresent? Somebody that is omnipotent. Not to be confused with impotent. Because impotent would mean the inability to perform. That was profound. Anyway, we had our game changer stuff going on, and Bobby Blaze beat Big Mel, which was awesome. But then he just had to do it. He just had to fuck it up and challenge Martel the Carpenter, and fucking lost. Bobby is skating on thin ice. Now Martel took on Big Mel, and that match was still going on leading into this week, where, well, the Messiah was there too, so that. But that match is still going on. Of course, Martel got knocked out of it. Seriously, I mean, come on. You let Big Mel and the Messiah take out the Martel, but you couldn't do it, Bobby? Really? 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 But as we got to our first match, our first two competitors were put into a position where they wound up on commentary. And we had a very interesting commentary team of the Emperor 2K Anomalium and the sponsored athlete Jayla Masters. And I'm going to tell you, that was a good team up on commentary. I mean, it was very insightful. It was very invigorating. It was very, it had a certain, what is that word? Je ne sais quoi, if you will. And the first match they got to commentate on featured none other than the sponsor athlete's own faction member, Money MF and Mike versus Nagante, which Money MF and Mike won, hands down, no problems. I mean, hey, every now and then a broke clock is right. Twice a day, right? Now, took on Cloudy Diggs, and Cloudy Diggs was able to break out the win and cook. And move on. And maybe improve his standing in the standings, or the rankings, whatever you want to call them. Fat Thomas took on Quanty Fist, and by no means intended to be pinned by anybody whose name is Quanty of the Fist. and he sat on him and destroyed him. And, well, ugh, pretty nasty. Now, Cats and Corey took on Lady Assassin and found out the hard way what makes the Lady Assassin so deadly. And it's her ring prowess as she moved on to a win. She's pretty good. If she would show up consistently every time, man, she'd be world champ by now. You know, interesting fact. To my recollection, she's the first woman to challenge for the world title. She didn't win it, but she was the first one to challenge for it. Actually, she was the first woman in WPA. Despite the name. Now, KO Jason Shepard took on the Super Champion King and Wolf Knight in the match one of the number one contender triple threat title match. There's something on my glasses. Now there's two things on my glasses. Excuse me one sec. I can't do a report with this. This is fucking Blitz writing is so small. Ah, that's better. And KO went on to victory, pinning Wolf Knight. And this hair that Turtle helped me with, we have to have a little talk with Turtle. I mean, come on. I mean, yes, I look sexy as hell, but still, always in my eyes. It's like going down on a cheap hooker. Match 2 saw Brass Hole versus Bobby Blaze and Crusher LB, who was too scared to show up. And Bobby Blaze, of course, won the match. Ha, ding dong, because he's the greatest. He just makes dumb decisions every now and then. Sometimes you gotta take the good with the bad, folks. Now, our next number one contender match was for the television title, and it featured the badass Eddie Vendetti versus James Altrez, and Altrez was able to defeat the badass. Now, immediately afterwards, he went into the offices of WPA and invoked his rematch clause for the tag titles. Didn't name his partner at the time, but he still is number one contender for the TV title. It's nice to have a good title match in your pocket. Now, our next number one contender match featured Captain Mexico taking on the First Lady Alexa Leslie, and it was to determine who would go on to face the Intercontinental Champion. And it seemed the First Lady was doing good. Like she had it under control, and then Captain Mexico turned it up a notch and was able to pin her when she went for that Rose Garden. Yeah, he became a weed whacker on that one. So he is your number one contender for the IC title. Now, in our tag team championship match, it was the Order, Mac Blakely and Red Death taking on Street Fight King and the South Bronx Savage. And for a second time, one of the partners of one of the teams did not show up second part of the match. Just like he disappeared. And now we have new tag team champions. So congratulations to the Street Fight King and South Bronx Savage, who will be facing, from what I understand, James Altrez and his partner, who I will name in a minute. In our Triple Threat Championship, it was a second defense for money as he took on the Idol Steve Sampson and Casper 2779, and I should probably correct it, as he lost his title when the Idol pinned Casper 2779. Man. You know, I hate to say this, but the last time I remember somebody actually defending that sucker 4 times straight, successfully, was like in numbers. I mean, come on, guys. How can you be good one-on-one and then just falter just because another guy's at it? I mean, come on. If you're good, you're good. If you're not, well, I don't know. What? Oh, that was Wookiee from, well, yeah. Now, our television champion was in action after protesting the addition of the Beast to his match. And it wasn't that he minded going in the triple threat match, it was specifically the Beast. But, rematch clauses, Beast got a shot. And luckily, Beast did not get pinned, but JP DiMaggio did by Lycan Umbris, as Lycan Umbris retained his title. You know, he's been on he's gonna, I think his next one, he should be able to get a rematch clause. He'll have an automatic rematch if he wants said rematch. Now, our United States champion, the pinnacle of humanity, Adrian Christopher, took on that idiot Martel, and he did what Bobby Blaze should have done: defeated Martel the Carpenter. I mean, come on. Now, he did call out his next opponent, as it was his prerogative to do so, and he chose JP DiMaggio. He must have been watching the Pinnacle, or whoever, Lycan Umbris pinned JP DiMaggio. But see, the Pinnacle and Lycan Umbris, they're not on the same level. Close, but not the same. So the Lycan Umbris pinning JP DiMaggio, and the Pinnacle, you're not the same level. But nevertheless, he wanted a challenge. He picked the former United States champion. In our Intercontinental Championship, it was Johnny Rocco taking on his hand-picked opponent, the Messiah. And Johnny Rocco just laid into the Messiah, which is weird because they're also trios champions together. Although I think some of that's just business. So Johnny Rocco has already gotten one successful defense with that IC. Now he has to see if he can get a second one. That's the title that gives him trouble all the time. He has trouble defending it. And then our World Championship 6-pack challenge. It was Jermaine Walker taking on Sean Puff, Big Mel, The Blueprint, Jackson Aries, Brian Lieber, and scheduled Draven the Sledgehammer, who never showed up in the match after running his mouth. And, you know, Sean Puff made a comeback. He did. It looked like he was poised to win until that masked guy showed up again with a chair. Now, this time if he had hit Sean Puff, there would have been no DQ. But he never entered the ring. He pulled out the chair, sat there. That slight distraction allowed Jermaine Walker to throw Puff over the rope and pin his wigger, Brian Lieber, and retain his title. So once again, the master, or the mister, or the muster, the musky one, no, that's the Messiah, never mind, does not take a title from Jermaine Walker. Once again, his words are found to be untrue. You know, honestly, I don't get it. You know, you don't want anything to do with Jermaine Walker flip. So you could have just said, thank you for the invitation to the match, but I respectfully decline your offer, Dorkstalker. He could have just went on about his business. But no, he chose not only to go into a match with a guy he had nothing to do with, but they come up with some elaborate plan. I don't think he really came up with it, but to take part in some elaborate plan that really didn't affect the world champ, other than his team loss. Jermaine, up to that point, was 0-1 in War Game matches. And, honestly, you had to get somebody else to help on his team to help you beat him. So, There'll always be that asterisk on that one. Now, Flip is still back home, resting, partying probably, in his little teetote world. But he did send me his pick of the week, and to no surprise, it is Captain Mexico, who is his pick of the week for his impressive win over the First Lady, Alexa Leslie. I know, it was pretty good. I mean, I thought she was going to clamp that rose garden on him and take his soul. Yeah. Oh, I almost forgot. I have been tasked with the indubitable duty to inform WPA, or actually to remind you, we're coming up on Royal Rumble, folks. And as always, the next couple of weeks are very crucial for your inclusion in the Royal Rumble, meaning you need to show up to work. Meaning there should not be the initials D, N, P next to your name. Meaning, what the hell did that light come from? Oh, Jesus. Meaning, you need to be at every match for the next at least for the next 2 weeks, to join the Royal Rumble and get your number like a prisoner. More information will be following, not from me, but from our esteemed admin team, with more details on the Royal Rumble, especially as we get closer, or if they ever get off their ass. What else can we talk about, Flip? I mean, today's kind of a short show. What? My hoodie. Oh yeah, I just got it. You just call me Lightning McQueen, bitch. Speaking of bitches. No, I'm not speaking of bitch. I feel like we're missing something. Oh well. This has been From the Front Row. I get to go on vacation. That means Johnathan gets to come back and does what he does in time for a Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. We start the road to WrestleMania, folks. Oh, that's what. Speaking of starting stuff, this week's matches have already started and are in progress, and are actually coming close to a conclusion. You know, I'd give you kind of a rundown of the rankings, but one of those admins is just off the ball. If you haven't already seen, now Nebraska was not in the match this week, but he has been afforded a little rest. But he's out there working out, though. But we got the all DMP crew of Crusher LB, Fatty Boy, and Machete Ramos in a match. If one of them ever shows up, they pretty much gonna win. The Super Champion King is taking on Captain Mexico, which should be a good test for Captain Mexico. But that match is actually quite tight. Like I said, Super Champion King's come back. He's been kind of good lately. The Commish is taking on Casper 2779 in another tightly contested match. Kwani Fist decided not to show up against Wolf Knight, but that could change. Money is taking on Mac Blakely in that match right now. Mac Blakely's doing what he should have done in his tag team match, and that's be competitive. The Messiah is taking on Brian Lieber, who surprisingly hasn't shown up. We have 8-person tag team matches. The Order, Sean Puff, Badass Eddie Von Daddy, the First Lady, and the Beast are taking on the Essential Jayla Masters, Big Mel, Fat Thomas, and Johnny Rocco. Man, that is one weird team up right there. I will tell you, it seems like Johnny Rocco was really not interested in this match. Now, in our number one contender match for the Triple Threat Championship, match 1 is seeing Cloudy Diggs and the Emperor 2K Anomaly fighting it. But they need to be careful because Lady Assassin is in there, and at any given time she chooses, she could turn it on. Match 2 is seeing Nurka Hante and Cats and Corey, who is right now in control of the match. Also with in there, and it's not looking good for. By all accounts, if it continues, I see Cats and Corey moving on to the next level. In his first defense of the Triple Threat Championship, the Idol, Steve Sampson, is taking on KO Jason Shepard and my hero, Bobby Blaze, who right now is firmly in control of that match and should come out on top as your new Triple Threat Champion. Now, Money MF and Mike was given the opportunity to face the television champ, Lycan Umbris, but right now, Lycan Umbris has a slight advantage over Money MF and Mike. Our United States champion, the Pinnacle, like I said, has selected JP DiMaggio as his opponent. And JP DiMaggio right now, he's kind of got control. Our tag team championship is the ADC Cash-In, Street Fight King of the South Bronx Savage. Right now, slight control over the match over James Alvarez and his selected partner, our world champion, Jermaine Walker. And that, folks, is our main event right now. That's kind of weird. Yeah. Who should win, folks? Happy New Year to you. Who's going to win? Who's going to be able to hold on to their advantage and come out on top? We shall see as the matches resume. 2 more days, bitches. And we'll find out who's got it. Who can make the comeback. Who's stupid enough to make a mistake? Until then, I bid you adieu.
Keep it alive, lead them away. I don't feel my ops, battle with me on the stage. Kick on my feet on the ground.